Halo, selamat malam semuanya. Kita masih menunggu sekitar 3 menit lagi untuk supaya Prof. Miller itu datang ke tempat. FYI, buat teman-teman yang nggak tahu, ini udah kedua kalinya nih Prof. Miller datang ke Schole. Halo, Christian. Could you hear me?
Here we go. Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't unmute. You had to let me unmute
Yeah.
myself. Hello.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Sure. Yeah, we hear you okay.
Good. Good to see you again.
So yeah, thank you for coming to Schole for the second time, Christians. It was really a pleasure to have you again here.
It's an honor. Thank you for wanting me to come back.
Yeah, we really love to have you.
You're very kind. So I've very good memories of the first time.
Yeah. So. We will still talk about characters today, especially about honesty. But before we discuss our topics today, I would like to introduce you in Indonesian language, Christians, if you don't mind.
Say it again, please.
I will introduce you in Indonesian language to the participants.
Absolutely. And are we going to do the same thing as last time where I'll talk for a little bit and then I'll stop and you can translate?
Yeah, I'll translate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
great.
It's okay. Yeah. You don't need to mind. Yeah. I'll try my best to translate it.
That'd be great. I will try and not say it too much, and I'll stop. And then.
Okay. So, hello every night. Thank you for coming today. It's 9 p.m. in Indonesia. So we really appreciate your enthusiasms to go to talk about philosophy at night. So it's really great to have you guys here. Jadi hari ini kita bakal dengar Prof Miller untuk ngomongin soal honesty atau filsafat kejujuran gitu. Topik yang cukup jarang dibahas dan kadang membingungkan juga ya. Ini gimana cara bisa dibahas secara filosofis gitu. Nah, mungkin sebelumnya saya perkenalin dulu nih siapa sih Prof Miller nih. Prof Miller ada seorang profesor filsafat di Forest University sejak tahun 2017 sampai tahun sekarang ini masih. Dan selain sebagai profesor, beliau juga kontributor di Forbes, Wall Street Journal, beberapa tulisannya di dalam topik etika dan psikologi. Nah, selain itu beliau juga pemimpin dari beberapa project ya, salah satunya Honesty Project ya. Jadi beliau itu memimpin project Honesty yang didanain sama Templeton Foundation. Selain itu, dia juga udah nulis lebih dari 95 artikel, bayangin. 95 artikel gitu ya. Dea dan saya aja satu artikel udah bahagia banget rasanya. Ya, jadi itu ya dari Prof Miller, dan selain itu beliau juga udah nulis 5 buku, 2 buku lagi masih upcoming dan akan segera diterbitkan pada tahun ini. So once again, thank you Prof Miller. We really love to have you here, and I also think the participants would like to hear many things from you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. It's really an honor to be with you. And I really loved our discussion last time, and I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah. So we already have you for the second time. So I don't think we need to ask you more about what philosophy is for you and the reason why you decide to indulge in academic philosophy. But no worries, everyone. I still have questions for you regarding your occupations. Uh, I see, and I already talked to the participants that you wrote more than 90 articles and maybe 95 articles. And I think it was great. Yeah, me and Amadia have only one article, and it really feel already so great for us. But to see you have 95 articles, so we want to ask you, do you have any tips for anyone here about what should someone do to write more productively? I mean, like, do you have any secrets about your productivity in your writings?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I have any secrets, but I can just tell you a few things I've done that I found helpful over the years. One is that I try to publish early on. So my first publications were when I was in graduate school, when I was at Notre Dame as a graduate student. And I would write every paper for my classes, trying to get a good grade in the class, but also trying to write a paper that I could use for publication. So I would write a paper with two goals in mind: for getting a good grade in the class and for publication. I ended up having 4 publications when I left graduate school, and that was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was that I wrote my dissertation with publication in mind. So I wrote my PhD dissertation as 7 chapters, each of which could become a publication, each of which was an independent article. And so I ended up getting 7 publications out of my dissertation. I'll stop. I could say a few more things, but let me stop there and let you translate.
Oke. Ya, jadi Prof ini punya gini ya, dia punya taktik gitu dalam menulis. Jadi dia mulai menulis aktif itu setelah lagi di graduate school gitu ya, kuliah S2 S3. Nah, dia nulis kalau misalnya dapat tugas, itu pikirannya bukan cuma dapat nilai bagus, tapi at the same time dia juga kerjain supaya bisa dipublikasikan. Jadi sekali mendayung 2-3 pulau terlampaui lah. Nah, ketika dia nulis disertasi, dia juga nulis untuk dipublikasikan nantinya. Gitu loh. Jadi langsung ada 7 sekaligus 7 articles yang udah dipublish di nanti. Jadi udah ada 11 artikel gitu. Jadi ini tips buat teman-teman yang sedang mempertimbangkan untuk lagi mengambil S2 atau S3 gitu ya. Coba pikir seperti itu. Wow, it's so great. Like you work at this, you already did 2 things when you write a good grade and also publications in your mind.
Yep, that's right. And so that was something I did early. A couple other tips that I've found helpful is one is when I see a conference, I will often write an abstract for a conference to submit to the conference. If the abstract gets accepted, then that will make me have to write a paper. So I will feel pressure that I have to give this paper at this conference, so I better write it up. That will give me lots of motivation. And then another thing for me is, as I get older in my career, I was a professor. We actually have time, research leaves. We are given time away from teaching to be able to publish. And that's where I do actually most of my writing. All my books were written when I did not have to teach. So I would have an entire year off with just being able to be in the library all day and focus on what I was writing on. So those are 2 more thoughts.
See. Also, the books that you wrote was wrote when you were not too busy to teaching. Am I right?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Jadi teman-teman, tips kedua gitu ya. Kadang kalau beliau nemuin conference gitu ya, beliau tuh akan ngirim abstrak. Kenapa ngirim abstrak? Supaya ada pressure gitu loh. Jadi ada tekanan untuk akhirnya nyelesain paper sesuai sama conference tersebut gitu. Jadi dengan taruh tekanan itu kita juga jadi mungkin keluar ide-ide gitu ya. Karena memang ide keluarnya saat deadline ya. Dan kedua itu juga dia itu agak di awal-awal karirnya itu beliau nggak terlalu sibuk untuk ngajar gitu. Jadi lebih banyak untuk memang nulis ya, riset dan segala macam. Nah itu jadi dua hal yang ada di pikiran beliau nih terkait tips-tips. Ya jadi itulah langkah-langkahnya dia gitu ya. So thank you for your tips ya. Actually they are trying to publish her undergraduate dissertations. Am I right? She is. She tries to publish her this undergraduate dissertations, and hopefully it will be published one day.
Yeah, good luck. Very good.
So
thank you, Professor Milan.
Absolutely.
So Christians, I think we could go to the questions regarding philosophy. Honesty. I want to ask first about a broader questions. I see that, and as you stated in your writing, so we talked about one of your writing, cultivating honesty. You talk about honesty in an Aristotelian manner. Could you share a bit what Aristotle thinks about ethics, or about ethics?
Sure. So I don't know how many people have read Aristotle. So Aristotle's written, there are lots of works, but his ethics is most famously written down in the Nicomachean Ethics, is the name of the book, the Nicomachean Ethics. And there's a lot that goes on in there. Maybe I'll just give you two ideas of many. One idea is that happiness, or what he calls eudaimonia, or flourishing, or the good life, is a life of virtue. So to live a good life, you have to have a good character. You have to be a virtuous person. As well as, he says, you have to have some good things happen to you, like you can't get really sick, you can't be tortured, or you can't be really poor, he says. But the main point for him is that a good life, the life of happiness or flourishing, is a life of virtue, good character. Well, what is virtue? For Aristotle, it has an inside component and an outside component. So there's the outside behavior, how we act in the world, and a virtuous person will act well, with excellence. A virtuous person will act honestly and courageously and self-controlled, and all the different virtues. But there's more to that than just the behavior on the outside. There's also the inside psychology. So we have to be a virtuous person, also think the right way, using practical wisdom, what he calls practical wisdom. And we have to feel the right way. We have to have the right motivation or heart behind our actions. So if you do an action, but you do it for the wrong reasons or bad motives, say because you want to become famous, or you want to get lots of rewards, that will not be enough to be virtuous. So it has to be good head, good heart, and good behavior to be a virtuous person, and then that will help you flourish or be happy. Let me stop there.
Ya, jadi teman-teman, Aristotle punya perspektif etika, namanya di dalam salah satu bukunya yang paling terkenal itu Etika Nikomachean atau Nicomachean Ethics. Jadi buat si Aristoteles, seseorang yang punya kehidupan yang baik atau good life adalah seseorang yang kehidupannya itu bajik. Nah, pertanyaannya apa sih kehidupan yang bajik itu? Orang yang hidup dengan bajik itu punya beberapa aspek. Yang pertama, sikap atau behavior yang baik. Yang kedua, itu juga intelek yang baik. Yang ketiga, itu juga practical wisdom, gitu ya, a good heart kalau kata Prof Miller tadi. Nah, jadi tiga hal itu yang harus dimiliki sama seseorang untuk dihitung sebagai bajik. Dan selain itu, di dalam kondisi yang banyak tekanan, gitu ya, ada siksaan misalnya, ada penderitaan dan segala macamnya. Tapi selama seseorang tersebut punya kehidupan yang bajik, pada saat yang sama nggak masalah, gitu ya, kondisi yang ada di luar itu dia akan tetap punya merasa puas lah itu. Jadi kurang lebih itu perspektif etikanya si Aristoteles. So Prof Christian, not so Aristotle ethics a bit quite different than other ethics such as utilitarianism or deontological ethics such as Immanuel Kant.
That's correct. Yes. So there, I mean, if we want to make it kind of just simple here, there are three main theories of ethics. There's virtue ethics, which Aristotle is the hero. There's kind of utilitarianism, where John Stuart Mill and Jeremy Bentham are the heroes. And then there's rule-based ethics, where Immanuel Kant is the hero. And some differences are that for Kant, ethics is a matter of following rules or principles. Character matters, but only in a very secondary way. It's character that helps you follow the right rules. And the rules are things like treating others as ends and never merely as means, or treating people with respect and dignity. That's one rule that Kant would put forward. And then for utilitarianism, it's all about the outcomes of our actions, the consequences of our actions, what effect our actions have in the world. And for utilitarianism, we're supposed to promote the greatest good we can, bring about the most goodness. So we're supposed to maximize good in the world. The ends justify whatever means we take to get there. And so there too, character can be helpful, but only in a very secondary way, because a good character only matters if it helps you have good effects on the world, make the world a better place. But all that matters for utilitarianism is maximizing the good, which for Mill is pleasure. So maximizing the amount of pleasure in the world. So these are three different approaches, and there's still today no agreement. There are lots of philosophers in each one still kind of fighting it out to figure out which is the best.
Ya, jadi ada 3 perspektif ya, utilitarianisme, deontologi, sama etika kebajikan. Kalau Aristoteles namanya etika kebajikan nih. Kalau misalnya si Immanuel Kant itu namanya deontologi. Kalau misalnya Bentham, Mill itu utilitarianisme. Nah, deontologi ini nggak terlalu mementingkan yang namanya karakter, gitu ya. Jadi karakter itu nomor 2, tapi yang penting adalah bagaimana suatu tindakan itu berkesesuaian dengan rule ya, hukum yang berlaku ya, tapi bukan hukum yang tertulis di undang-undang, tapi hukum yang sifatnya lebih universal ya, hukum moral lah kasarnya begitu. Nah itu kalau di Immanuel Kant gitu, jadi sangat ketat gitu ya, dan pada saat yang sama itu nggak bicara banyak soal karakter. Yang kedua, kalau utilitarianisme ini juga sama ya, karakter itu nggak terlalu penting. Yang penting itu adalah soal bagaimana suatu tindakan itu memberikan kebaikan atau kebahagiaan yang paling banyak bagi banyak orang, yaitu Mill sama Bentham. Dan sampai sekarang masih banyak perdebatannya, nggak ada titik temunya, gitu ya. Sampai sekarang kalian di kuliah kelas manapun kalau bicara soal etika pasti itu ada perdebatan. Gitu. Nah kita pada kali ini akan bicarakan soal etika di dalam perspektif si Aristoteles, gitu ya, soal karakter. Nah kita mau tanya nih ke Prof Miller, kira-kira apa sih yang dimaksud karakter dan apa aja contohnya? So Christians, I'll continue the question. So for the ontology and utilitarianism, character is important, but in a secondary way. And on the other hand, in Aristotelian will think that character is the most important. So can you share about what do you mean by these characters, and what are the examples of the characters?
Yep. So character here is just let me put it this way. Character can come in 2 kinds. There's good character and there's bad character. So good character is virtuous character that has the virtues. Bad character is vicious character, character that has the vices. So examples of virtues are things like honesty, which we'll be talking about today, but others like compassion and courage and justice and self-control. And then examples of vice are the opposite of those. You just take them and flip them around. So you get dishonesty, you get cowardice, you get cruelty. So that's character is ultimately about how you are in your mind disposed to think, feel, and act. He's disposed to think, feel, and act. And it takes two forms: good character, which is virtuous, and bad character, which is vicious.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, we already have talked about here, months ago. So, guys, if you need to know more, if you want to know more about characters, you could see our video in Instagram. We already uploaded there. Jadi karakter itu teman-teman adalah soal bagaimana yang namanya intelektual kita, gitu ya, sikap kita dan juga perilaku kita itu condong kepada yang mana. Ada dua karakter ya, ada yang vicious ya atau yang buruk sama yang baik, karakter yang baik, yang misalnya kejujuran yang akan kita ngomongin kali ini, ada juga keberanian dan segala macamnya. Sedangkan sebaliknya ya karakter yang buruk, ketidakjujuran dan ya kejahatan dan beragam bentuk-bentuk lainnya. Nah, sekarang kita mau lanjut. Kira-kira apa sih kejujuran ini dan kenapa penting ya untuk ngomongin soal kejujuran ini? So Christians, in your writings and your upcoming books, you talk specifically about honesty. Why then did you choose to talk specifically about honesty rather than virtue in general? And why should we care about honesty?
Yeah, good. So, well, first of all, I said why not virtue, because I've been working on virtue for 10 years. So I've said a lot about it already. I wrote 2 books for academics, for philosophy professors. I wrote a book for a general audience called The Character Gap. So I've said what I want to say about virtue and character in general, and I basically got a little bored with it. I didn't have anything more to say. Now, honesty in particular, that really got my attention because it looked like philosophers were completely ignoring it. They weren't paying attention to it. There was almost nothing written in the last 50 years. And I mean that, like 2 articles in philosophy in the last 50 years on the virtue of honesty, which is incredible. So I thought, look, this is a virtue that is really important. It matters a lot, and I'll say why in a second. But philosophers are not paying attention to it. So here's a chance for me to say something new and controversial, probably, that will get people to pay attention to it and start working on it. And I think they should. So the second part of your question is, why is it important? Well, I'm tempted to say, why would it, isn't it obvious, right? Isn't it obvious that it's really important? I mean, think about all the different areas of your life and how honesty matters. So think about you and a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, and how honesty matters so much in a relationship and how you don't want there to be cheating, for example, going on in the relationship. Think about children, raising children, and how important it is to raise children to be honest in school, honest at home, honest with the parents, honest with each other, honest with themselves. Think about work. At work, how important honesty is, and how if you have employees or colleagues at work who are cheating the company, stealing things from the company, faking the numbers, lying to their bosses, how bad that will be. Think about society in general and politicians and leaders and what happens when we have corruption and we have cheating and stealing, but someone steals from the money from the government. So all these ways and many more show that honesty is really good and dishonesty is really bad. But philosophers have not said much, so I want to have more attention paid to honesty.
Okay, I'll translate it. Jadi teman-teman, kenapa sih Prof Miller tuh bahas, sebenarnya tulisannya ada banyak ya soal karakter, terutama yang the character gap itu kan generally ngomongin soal apa itu karakter dan kehidupan yang baik gitu ya. Jadi sebenarnya ada banyak. Nah, tapi dia pengen nih, penasaran dalam jangka waktu sekitar 50 tahun ini gitu ya, 50 tahun ini tulisan-tulisan filsafat yang bahas soal kejujuran tuh hampir nggak ada. Cuma 2 artikel, bayangin. Nah, berarti ada suatu pengabaian terhadap kejujuran sebagai suatu kebajikan ya untuk dibahas secara filosofis. Dan menurut Prof Miller ini kan suatu hal yang penting sebenarnya ya. Kita pikirkan aja ya, orang-orang yang signifikan, orang-orang yang penting buat kita, kekasih gitu ya, suami apa teman kita gitu kan, kita mengharapkan mereka semua bersikap jujur. Dan juga orang-orang yang sekitar kita ya, orang-orang lain, pemerintah, terus juga karyawan-karyawan, kolega, teman, ya kita mengharapkan mereka semua jujur, dan kita juga membenci orang-orang yang tidak jujur, ya, korupsi misalnya, dan beragam bentuk-bentuk ketidakbajikan lainnya. Nah, jadi memang secara intuitif pun kita tahu bahwa yang namanya kejujuran ini penting. So Christians, I wonder, do you think there's any reason why honesty is a bit neglected by most philosophers?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough question. I've wondered that myself many times. So it for a while it was probably neglected because virtue was neglected in general in philosophy. Virtue ethics only made a big comeback in the 1980s or so. And before that, it was really utilitarianism and rule-based ethics that were the main theories. So that explains part of it. For a long time, just people weren't talking about virtue and character. But when virtue ethics does come back in the 80s, people tended to focus more on virtue ethics as a theory, virtue in general, and not so much particular virtues. Still, though, you would have thought there would be something. And my last thought is maybe philosophers didn't think there were many interesting issues about it. Maybe something like humility or other virtues that are trickier and more complicated and have some more interesting puzzles. But maybe they thought honesty, that's kind of straightforward, not so much interesting there. So they didn't pay attention to it. I don't know. But I think once you actually get into it, and we'll in a minute, you'll realize actually there are lots of fascinating puzzles and tricky, complicated issues about honesty too. So I hope people will start to see that more.
Okay, I'll translate. Jadi teman-teman, aku nanya nih, kira-kira kenapa ya kejujuran itu nggak dibahas sama banyak filsuf? Ternyata salah satu alasan mendasarnya karena sebenarnya selama beberapa puluh tahun perdebatan etika itu ada di kisah-kisah utilitarianisme sama deontologi aja. Jadi perdebatan ya antara etika yang dasarnya hukum gitu ya, hukum moral, atau ya kayak Peter Singer misalnya kali ya. Peter Singer kan utilitarian banget tuh. Jadi ya perdebatan di situ-situ aja tuh. Nah, baru sekitar tahun 1980-an, virtue ethics atau etika kebajikannya Aristoteles balik. Dan pun ketika kebajikannya Aristoteles balik, itu orang-orang masih jarang untuk bahas soal honesty atau kejujuran. Kenapa kira-kira tuh? Karena ya honesty aku bilang tadi ya, intuitively kita tahu ya ini penting, kan. Secara langsung kita tahu, ya nggak perlu dipertanyakan lagi kali. Ini kan semua orang juga tahu. Nah, sedangkan kebajikan lain semacam kerendah hatian, gitu ya, humility, intellectual humility itu lebih tricky. Nah, makanya honesty jarang dibahas nih, tapi ternyata dia tricky juga loh. Nah, kita akan lihat kira-kira tricky-nya tuh di mana. Kita akan lanjut dengan tanya soal apa itu honesty atau apa itu kejujuran, dan bagaimana sih seorang yang jujur itu bersikap. Yeah, so let's go to the honesty itself. I wonder what is honesty and how does an honest person act? What are the things an honest person tries to stand against?
Good, very good. And quick question: do you want to record today? Are you recording?
Yeah, we're recording it.
Oh, okay. It normally shows up on my end. Okay.
On YouTube.
So then this is the big question, and this is what I wrote my book on. So there's lots of stuff to say, and it's very exciting. But I'll try and keep it real short if I can. Let me give you two-part answer. So I'm going to give you one part, and then I'll stop and you can translate, and I'll give you the second part. The first part is about behavior. The second part is about motivation inside. So an honest person here, I'm thinking of honesty as a character trait, as a virtue, and an honest person behaves a certain way, they do not on purpose distort the facts or mess up the facts or misrepresent the facts to people. Okay, so if I'm going around saying things that I do not believe, if I'm lying, what am I doing? I'm on purpose intentionally misrepresenting the facts to other people as I see them. If I'm stealing something from someone else, I'm misrepresenting who owns it. I'm acting as if I own those things when they belong to someone else. If I cheat on a test, I'm misrepresenting how I did on the test. I'm acting as if this was my genuine performance. This is how much I know, when in fact that is not the case. If I mislead you and give you a very deceptive answer, I'm not actually representing the facts as I see them. So for me, as far as behavior is concerned towards other people, an honest person does not on purpose misrepresent or distort the facts to other people. So let me stop there and let you, and I'll say more.
Oke, so jadi teman-teman, apa sih yang namanya kejujuran itu? Sederhananya singkatnya, yang namanya kejujuran itu adalah sebuah kecondongan gitu ya, dari seseorang untuk tidak melakukan yang namanya distorsi fakta dan juga misrepresentasi akan suatu hal. Misalnya seandainya seseorang itu berbuat curang di dalam sebuah ujian, gitu ya. Ketika dia curang di dalam sebuah ujian, maksudnya ya nyontek gitu ya, atau dia lihat handphone dan segala macam. Nah, pada artinya dia itu sedang bertindak tidak jujur. Dan ketika ia bertindak tidak jujur, ia sedang melakukan kesalahan representasi terhadap kemampuannya sendiri, gitu ya. Jadi ketika dia nyontek, ya kemampuannya let's say jadi dapat nilai 100, gitu ya. Tapi sebenarnya kemampuan itu hanya sekitar 70-80. Nah, sekali lagi, orang yang jujur itu akan menghindarkan diri dari usaha untuk memisrepresentasikan dirinya dan juga nggak membiarkan yang namanya fakta itu terdistorsi. Aku rasa ini penting banget menimbang di Indonesia gitu ya. Ada banyak buzzer gitu ya. Maksudnya yang namanya distorsi fakta itu kita temukan di mana-mana di sosial media. Jadi ini penting dan menarik untuk dibahas. Christians, please continue.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So let me give you one other piece about the behavior, and then I'll come to the motivation. So what does it prevent? Well, honesty prevents lots of things, because I think honesty is extremely broad. It covers a lot of moral territory. It prevents lying. It also prevents cheating. It prevents stealing. It prevents promise breaking. It also prevents misleading other people. And even more than that, it can prevent things like hypocrisy, where you act one way towards others in a different way than you act in your private life. It can prevent bullshitting, what Harry Frankfurt famously called this word bullshitting. Self-deception. So it's extremely powerful. It covers lots of territory in morality. Maybe I'll stop there and then I'll give you the motivational part.
Ya, jadi yang namanya kejujuran itu, orang-orang yang jujur itu menghindari banyak hal ya. Beberapa hal yang tadi disebutin itu menghindarkan diri dari sikap-sikap hipokrisi gitu ya, apa namanya, muka dua gitu ya. Lalu juga menghindari yang namanya mencuri, berbohong, menipu, juga promise breaking itu apa ya? Ingkar janji gitu loh. Jadi orang-orang jujur itu nggak akan melakukan hal-hal tersebut gitu ya. Dan ini sebenarnya suatu hal yang sangat powerful gitu ya untuk kita pikirkan. Kenapa? Karena ya menarik gitu ya. Ternyata yang namanya kejujuran ini adalah aspek yang sangat luas gitu, dan banyak hal yang bisa kita perbincangkan nih terkait kejujuran itu sendiri ya. Jadi yang namanya kebohongan gitu ya, menipu, mencuri, apa namanya, ingkar janji, itu hal yang seharusnya dihindari sama orang-orang yang jujur. Ya, jadi sifatnya sangat broad atau sangat luas. Nah, sekarang kita lanjut ke part selanjutnya. Please continue. Christian?
Okay, yes. The last part, and I'm sorry if I give a long answer. But as we said already with Aristotle, behavior is not all there is. If you have a bad reason or a bad heart behind your behavior, you do not get to count as a virtuous person. So for honesty, I think it's complicated, but any motivation that is self-interested, if it's about yourself, it's about benefiting you, like I'm going to tell the truth so that I do not get in trouble, or I'm going to tell the truth so that I can get a raise in my job, or I'm going to tell the truth so that I can get good rewards in the afterlife. That's all about you. It's about me. It's about myself, egoistic. That does not count. I say that does not count as good motivation. Otherwise, though, there can be lots of good motives for an honest person. An honest person can, let's make it a little bit more concrete. Why did you not cheat on the test? An honest person could answer, because I did not want to disrespect Professor Miller. An honest person could answer, because that would not be the honest thing to do. An honest person could answer, what if everyone did that? Then that would make the world a bad place. An honest person could answer, I did not want to betray my friendship with Professor Miller. There are friendship motives, loving motives, justice motives, duty motives. Lots of different kinds of motivation are fine, so long as they are not egoistic, if they're not self-interested, they're not about me, they're about something outside of me, then that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I translate it. Jadi kalau tadi kan kita ngomongin soal sikap nih ya, gitu. Maksudnya honesty sebagai suatu sikap. Tapi bukan cuma bicara soal sikap nih, tapi juga soal motivasi atau apa yang di dalam diri. Kalau misalnya kita takut gitu ya sama yang namanya gua nggak akan bertindak curang karena takut gitu ya. Aku kenapa kamu nggak curang gitu ya? Jawabannya mungkin karena nanti ketangkep gitu ya, atau nanti ketahuan, atau nanti di DO ya, atau nanti nilainya buruk segala macam. Itu kan soal self interest ya, atau interest terkait diri kita sendiri. Nah, tapi kalau orang jujur itu nggak bicara soal self interestnya, ya. Misalnya, kenapa nggak mau curang? Karena aku tidak mau betray. Betray itu apa ya? Mengkhianati persahabatan dengan Prof Miller, atau nggak mau atau misalnya aku mau membuat dunia menjadi lebih baik dan segala macam. Nah, itu jadi soal motivasi pun sebenarnya penting dan bukan cuma soal behavior atau cuma sikap. Jadi dua hal itu ya, motivasi dan juga sikap atau tindakan. Nah, jadi ini ya menarik ya untuk bicara soal kejujuran gitu loh. Nah, selanjutnya ini kita masuk ke pertanyaan yang lebih menarik lagi nih. Apakah benar bahwa orang-orang yang tidak jujur itu lebih banyak dibandingkan orang-orang yang jujur? Nah, ini kita coba discuss. So I'll continue to the second questions regarding honesty. Actually, when I read your writings, I was reminded of Billy Joel's old song "Honesty," in which some part of the lyrics said, "If you search for tenderness, it isn't hard to find. You can have the love you need to live. But if you look for truthfulness, you might just as well be blind. It always seems to be so hard to give. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue." What do you think about Joel's lyrics, Joel's songs? I wonder, what are there any psychological or other scientific discipline findings regarding honesty? Is it really true that people are basically disposed to be dishonest than to be honest?
Yes, yeah, great. So first of all, thank you for that song. I actually did not know that song, and I may put it in my next book on honesty. So, and I will give you credit for showing that to me. But thank you. This is a long story too, and I've written lots and lots about this. There are no studies that, like one study which would show honest, dishonest people in general. There's no like easy magical study. What you have are lots of studies which put people in a particular situation and see in that situation, do they lie? Do they cheat? Do they steal? You can't conclude anything from one of those studies, but what you can do is take a bunch of those studies, and there are hundreds of them, and kind of put them together and look at the overall picture. So in lots of situations, do people tell the truth? In lots of situations, do people not tell the truth? What's the overall kind of aggregate picture that emerges? And I say it's one that's complicated and messy, but it does not give us clear evidence of virtue. It does not give us clear evidence of vice. It does not give us clear evidence of honesty. It does not give us clear evidence of dishonesty. I say, and this is to remind you of our last visit 6 months ago, I say that the picture is one of mixed character, where sometimes people are behaving well and sometimes people are not behaving well. So let me give you a particular example of a study, and that hopefully make it a little bit more relatable and concrete, and then I'll stop so you can translate. Here's one study. Participants would come in, take a test with 20 problems. They would be paid 50 cents US dollar, US money, 50 cents per correct answer. They had no chance to cheat. They got about 7 problems correct on average. Another group would come in, take the same test, same 50 cents per correct answer, but they could cheat. They could cheat by grading it themselves, destroying all of their materials, and then saying verbally, I got this many right. That group said it got 14 out of 20. The first group said 7 out of 20. Well, the first group didn't have a choice. They was just graded 7 out of 20. This group says 14 out of 20. Big difference. Evidence of cheating. A third group, though, so that doesn't look so good so far. A third group, they sign an honor code, which means basically they had to sign a document saying, I pledge I will not cheat. Then they took the test. 50 cents per correct answer. They had an opportunity to cheat. They could have cheated just like that second group. They did not. So something about that honor code and having to be reminded of what's morally right and what's morally wrong stop the cheating. That's a good thing. So in this study, you get evidence of bad with the cheating in the second group. You have evidence of good, though, too, with no cheating in the third group, when you're reminded of what the right thing to do is. So lots of studies like that, which tell a mixed picture, is the way I would say. Not most of us are good, not most of us are bad. We're somewhere in the middle. And that was a lot. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Yeah, no worries. Jadi teman-teman, pertanyaan saya itu kan kayak aku nanya kayak ada nggak sih penemuan-penemuan saintifik atau psikologis yang melihat bahwa ternyata orang yang tidak jujur lebih banyak. Nggak sesederhana itu ya. Cukup problematis untuk memikirkan soal berapa banyak orang yang jujur atau yang tidak jujur, gitu ya. Kalau dari penemuan-penemuan yang ada, kita harus melihat tentang kejujuran atau ketidakjujuran ini ketika seseorang atau beberapa orang ditaruh dalam suatu kondisi yang partikular ya, suatu kondisi spesifik yang mana ketika di dalam suatu kondisi tersebut dia akan bersikap either jujur atau nggak jujur. Nah, jadi ya dalam tanda kutip itu sosial eksperimentasi sosial lah ya, gitu. Jadi harus dalam suatu kondisi, gitu ya. Nah, di dalam kondisi tersebut ternyata jawabannya itu bukan kita baik atau buruk. Gak ada jawaban pastinya, tapi kita ada di antara, gitu ya. The character gap itu yang kita bahas dulu banget, itu bahas soal sebenarnya kondisinya manusia itu bagaimana sih? Dia itu nggak baik banget, dan pada saat yang kita nggak buruk banget, ya. Kita ada di tengah. Nah, apa contohnya? Misalnya beberapa contohnya itu terkait ini ya, suatu ujian, gitu ya. Jadi eksperimentasi sosial, suatu ujian, gitu ya. Jadi orang-orang ada 3 grup, ada 3 kelompok yang diberikan kesempatan untuk ikut ujian, gitu ya. Setiap jawaban yang benar itu mereka dapat 50 sen. Nah, grup pertama ini mereka dalam kondisi yang nggak bisa berbuat curang, gitu ya. dan mereka harus ikut ujian secara apa ya, mungkin harus dalam tanda kutip terpaksa nggak bisa curang gitu ya. Rata-rata jawaban itu 7 soal dari 20 soal yang benar. Yang di kedua itu mereka diberikan kesempatan untuk berbuat curang. Mereka periksa mereka sendiri, terus mereka juga bisa ngomong sendiri, aku benar 10, aku benar 18. Nah, mereka bebas untuk melakukan hal tersebut. Dan ternyata meningkat gitu ya. Jadi 14 soal kebanyakan yang benar. Nah, jadi ada kecurangan di sana. Tapi yang ketiga, itu mereka diminta untuk menandatangani suatu apa ya, perjanjian gitu ya, under code namanya. Nah, ketika mereka tanda tangan gitu ya, jadi aku tidak akan berbuat curang, bla 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 bla, mereka tanda tangan. Ya. Ketika mereka tanda tangan, itu ternyata mereka punya kesempatan untuk berbuat curang, tapi ternyata end up karena under code tersebut mereka jadi tidak berbuat curang. Kesimpulannya apa? Sekali lagi kita tidak seburuk itu, tapi kita juga nggak sebaik itu dari penemuan yang tadi baru kita diskusikan. Yeah, Christians, I actually reminded by one of our lecturers. She one day when we tried to do our task, she gave us an honor code. Yeah, we need to sign the thing. So maybe that's what she trying to do. Yeah, she want to make us more sensitive about cheating.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, I'm all for honor codes. My article in the New York Times in November was about trying to use honor codes more and more in school. And in my own classes, I take it even further because I have my students not only sign their name to a honor code, when we have a test, I actually have them say it with me. So together we all recite, we verbally say the honor code together. I do too. Then they have to sign their name on a document, pledging that they will not lie, cheat, or steal on this test. And this is, I think is very helpful. It doesn't eliminate cheating. There will always be people who don't care about that, but it can reduce the rate of cheating. And that's what I care about. And how does that work? I think this might be a good transition to our next topic too. It works because it's a moral reminder. So the idea is this is one of the ways to actually improve in honesty, to grow in honesty, to become a more honest person. Because we tend to think that cheating is bad, lying is wrong, stealing is wrong, but we don't always pay attention to it. We get distracted by other things. Sometimes we get distracted for the how yummy that looks, or how I could get a better grade, or what I could do with that money if I took it. And so a moral reminder, like the honor code, what does it do? It gets our perspective back to where it needs to be. Yeah, by signing the honor code, I'm paying attention to my own moral values. I'm paying attention to the fact that I think cheating is wrong. And then when I do that, it's very hard for me to turn around and go from that to cheat. It's very hard to go from a moral reminder, like an honor code, to 2 minutes later or 5 minutes later, cheating on a test. So I think that's actually one of the ways in which something very practical from our discussion that would be helpful in a school context, but also is a good way for people in general, for all of us, to try and become more honest, to grow in honesty.
Yeah, so I think it's one of the strategy. If there's any teacher here, yeah, she or he could do the honor code, I think. Yeah, I'll translate it, Christians.
Yeah.
Jadi teman-teman, ini pertanyaan lanjutan saya tadi ya. Jadi dosen kami itu Bu Gadis Arifia, kalau teman-teman tahu, itu pernah gitu ya minta kami tanda tangan di atas kertas soal supaya kita bersikap jujur. Ya mungkin itu salah satu cara untuk mengurangi kami bersikap jujur gitu ya. Ini dia juga disuruh tanda tangan waktu itu ya, Dek. Nah, kayaknya itu salah satu cara supaya kita bersikap jujur. Dan gimana menurut Prof Miller? Ya itu memang suatu hal yang baik. Itu salah satu cara untuk mengurangi kecurangan gitu ya. Jadi dengan menandatangani honor code tersebut, seseorang tuh mendapat pengingat. Nah, ini poin penting nih, pengingat. Jadi sebenarnya kita semua tahu ya bahwa yang namanya bohong atau curang atau korupsi itu buruk. Tapi seringkali kita lupa gitu ya. Kita lupa karena kita terdistraksi sama betapa nikmatnya apa yang akan kita peroleh kalau saya bersikap buruk. gitu ya. Kalau gue bersikap buruk nanti wah ini duitnya oke nih lumayan lah buat nih ya BMW 1 gitu ya atau apa gitu lumayan lah gitu kan. Jadi bisa gitu. Nah, lupa. Nah, kita perlu pengingat atau reminder supaya kita nggak jatuh ke dalam dishonesty atau vices yang lainnya. Nah, itu yang bagus atau penting daripada undercode gitu. Tapi pertanyaannya apakah itu aja cara untuk membentuk kejujuran? Nah, kita diskusikan dan tanya lebih lanjut lagi. So, I could say that undercut reducing cheating in class. But do you think it's the most effective way to cultivate honesty? What should we do if you want to cultivate honesty?
Yeah, good. So that's a really hard question as about most effective, because frankly, there are not studies which compare the effectiveness of different strategies. So we don't know what's most effective. We are just trying to distinguish between different strategies, but then we'd have to do tests where you give one strategy to this group of people, another strategy to this group of people, another strategy to this group of people, and measure them over time on their honesty. And we don't have those studies right now. Let me just talk then more like as a philosopher, what I think could be helpful. So we've already talked a little bit about the honor code, and that's an example of the moral reminder strategy. That doesn't have to be just honor codes. It could be things like at the beginning of the day, you have a reading which helps you get in the right mindset or frame of mind to think about honesty or think about morality in general. It could be during the course of your day, you have emails or text messages which remind you of the importance of being a good person. It could be writing at the end of the day a diary, or writing down in a book, looking back on the day, what did you do well? What did you not do well? What could you change about yourself? So that's all within the idea of moral reminders. Now there's a different, I'll just mention one other strategy. I know time is getting long here. I'll just mention one more, which is moral heroes, exemplars, saints, role models. So this is one that lots of people who work on character they like this strategy, not just honesty, but any virtue. The idea is to seek out, look for examples of people who are doing this well. In our case, people who are really honest, they got there, they made it. And then try to follow them, model our lives after their life. So in the American context, one of the people who's most famous for honesty is Abraham Lincoln. He's known as Honest Abe. That's one many Americans would look to. It could be a historical figure like that. It could be someone example from literature. It could be examples from religion, Jesus, Confucius, different examples. But it could also be people in your own life. A teacher, a friend, someone at work, a neighbor who you see as better than you, doing better on that area of their character. And you admire them in a way that inspires you, that you're moved emotionally to become more like them. It's not just, intellectually, oh, they're a good person. It's, okay, they're a good person, and my heart draws me towards them. I want to become more like them. And that's found to be effective in closing the gap between them and you. So this would be a second strategy I would recommend. Seeking out in your life, looking for examples of honesty and trying to follow their example.
Oke, I'll translate it. Jadi ada dua ya teman-teman cara untuk membentuk kejujuran. Yang pertama tadi undercode ya, undercode atau ya tadi yang tanda tangan itu. Atau yang kedua itu namanya moral reminders. Jadi strategi pertama namanya moral reminders, pengingat moral. Bentuknya bisa berbagai macam, nggak harus undercode doang. Bisa diary ya. Jadi setiap kali habis kamu berkegiatan kamu nulis gitu kan, kamu refleksi kira-kira. Atau kalian mendapat SMS, WhatsApp atau misalnya email yang mengingatkan kalian beberapa hal terkait apa yang perlu kalian lakukan hari ini, jadi hal-hal yang baik lah, gitu ya, positif gitu ya. Terus yang kedua, selain moral reminders, ini juga ada moral heroes atau ini kayak mencari role model gitu. Kita mencari sosok yang mana kita bisa melihat kepadanya gitu ya. Kita menilai mereka sebagai orang yang besar, orang yang tinggi, dan kita mau menjadi seperti mereka. Misalnya kalau di Amerika itu ada Abraham Lincoln, orang yang sangat terkenal kan, dikenal sebagai honest ape ya, si AB yang jujur gitu. Nah, atau nggak harus orang-orang terkenal gitu ya, bisa juga fiksi, bahkan misalnya Les Miserables gitu, atau misalnya orang-orang sekitar kita ya, tetangga gitu, atau orang tua kita ya, atau ya apa pemimpin kelompok kalian lah, siapapun itu, atau pemuka agama, bisa siapapun gitu. Nah, itu cara kedua. Jadi cara pertama moral reminder, cara kedua itu moral heroes atau pahlawan moral. So those are two strategies to cultivate our honesty. But anyway, you also talk about a particular theological perspective. Christianity could help someone become an honest person. How could it be, and are there any empirical findings regarding Christianity and the way it cultivates honesty?
Yeah, good. So let me say that I do talk about Christianity. I talk about it. I myself am a Christian, so that's where I'm coming from as my own perspective. So that's why I talk about it. But I want to emphasize that you don't have. I'm not saying you have to be a Christian. To be honest, I think there can be people in other religions who are honest. I also think there are people with no religion who can be honest too. So I'm not saying it's necessary. The question is, can it help? And I think it can help. So Christianity can help. I think other religions, of course, can help too. So how might it help? Well, actually, let's just continue the discussion we were just having. Moral reminders and examples, role models. Well, Christianity can provide both. So take moral reminders. In a Christian life, there are all kinds of ways in which we would be reminded of the right thing to do and the honest thing to do. That could take the form of reading the Bible. Lots of passages which emphasize these themes. It could take the form of prayer. It could take the form of being in a group, accountability group, or a small group, or having people you can confess what you're doing to others. In a Catholic setting, that would be confessing to a priest. In other settings in Christianity, that could be confessing to a friends or a group of people who try to hold you accountable. So the point is, there are many practices and activities, if you want to put it that way, in the Christian life, which end up serving as more reminders of how we should live, reinforcing that point over and over again. Okay, that's one thing. And then take the role models. Well, here too, Christianity has a big emphasis on role models. After all, Jesus is supposed to be God, the Son, one person of the Trinity, the Son who became a human being for us for 33 years, and on earth lived a perfectly virtuous life. So here's supposed to be a concrete example of what all the virtues are supposed to look like, that we are supposed to be inspired by to have our life become more like his life. So there's the best role model of all in the Christian perspective. There can be other ones, though. Many saints throughout history have been role models of different virtues. You can have people today in the church, hopefully, I mean, not always, of course, but hopefully are good role models. So both of those strategies actually fit very well with Christianity.
Okay, I'll translate. Jadi di dalam tulisannya, Prof. Miller itu nulis tentang kekristenan gitu ya. Kekristenan bisa cultivate honesty. Nah, yes, bisa gitu ya. Karena secara kalau kita ingat-ingat tadi ya, ada beberapa cara moral reminder sama moral heroes di dalam kekristenan itu sangat dipraktikkan gitu ya. Misalnya dalam moral reminder orang baca Alkitab gitu ya, atau orang itu punya KTB gitu ya, dia punya KTB adik. atau pergi ke gereja dan segala macam. Nah, itu menjadi sebuah pembentuk di mana kita diingatkan gitu untuk bersikap lebih baik. Gitu. Makanya agama ya secara umum sebenarnya juga itu nggak masalah. Ya, tadi Prof. Miller juga bilang dia nggak bilang ini niscaya gitu. Kamu niscaya harus jadi Kristen untuk jadi baik, nggak ngomong gitu. Tapi ini salah satu cara untuk cultivate honesty. Yang kedua itu moral heroes atau pahlawan moral. Ya kalau di Kristen kan ada Yesus gitu. Yesus salah satu person atau pribadi dari Trinitas ya pergi ke bumi selama 33 tahun. Nah, itu kan jadi contoh buat orang-orang Kristen untuk melihat kepadanya. Ada ungkapan kan WWJD ya, what will Jesus do? Gitu karena itu juga semacam moral demanders dan juga apa namanya tuh moral heroes lah gitu. Tapi nggak harus di Yesus doang, gitu ya. Di gereja apa segala macam. Ada cara-cara banyak. Ada yang nanya apa itu KDB, mungkin dia mau jawab sekalian aja gitu. Nah, jadi begitu ya, hal-hal itu yang bisa ternyata membentuk kita. Yeah, actually Ahmadiyya have some kind of small group in the church, yeah, there. So yeah, I think I want to go to the next questions, Miller Christians. So
Sure.
yeah, my questions is regarding other theological or religious perspectives. Do you think it is important for other theological or religious frameworks to talk about how their frameworks will help someone to be an honest person?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that seems pretty straightforward to me, right? So first of all, other religions have very valuable things to say about morality in general. And they should talk about honesty, and many of them do. And I have no problem with that at all. I would want in this discussion to say that the more honesty is promoted in different ways, the better. It doesn't have to be in one way. It can be in different contexts and different traditions and different religions. That's all fine. I don't know enough about different religions to speak very specifically. So I don't know enough about Hinduism to say exactly what Hinduism has to say about honesty. But I see no problem here with encouraging honesty being promoted in all the different world religions. Yeah, I'll give you a short answer that time.
Yeah, if there are any participants who interested to talk about honesty in their religious frameworks, it will be great, I think, Christians.
What?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ya,
sure.
Jadi teman-teman itu boleh jadi pertimbangan tuh untuk bahas honesty gitu, dalam perspektif religius kalian masing-masing gitu. Mungkin bisa sekalian jadi publikasi langsung ya. Duita kan dari psikologi juga tuh Duita. Nah, Duita bisa pertimbangin tuh. Lumayan kan kalau masuk jurnal Q1 gitu. Okay, so yeah, I think there is some. I think those are the questions I have. Could we take one or two questions, Christians? I know it's already an hour, but could we take one or two questions? Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Oke, jadi aku ambil dari kalian ya, teman-teman ya. Jadi aku ambil dari si Daniel. So I took one from Daniel. Actually, he is one of my college in Universitas of Indonesia. Your 2013 article, Honesty, Cheating, and Character in College, have interesting suggestions, such as faculty that expect students not to be honest and creating a college with robust honor code. And in conclusion, you said that many students today seem to be graduating from college with characters those are not honest. But along with suggestions of yours, I suspect that you only talk about the practical problem and practical solution, and might enforce something that power were needed to create honesty in some aspects in social life. And for me, might conflict with the self. So how's honesty and authenticity? What do you think, Christian?
Can you maybe summarize that again? I had a little trouble following.
Yeah.
Can you maybe summarize in your own words? Or
yeah, I think Daniel's thing that the suggestions you gave in your 2013 article talks about some kind of enforcing someone. You need some kind of power to create honesty in some aspects. But how about authenticity? Yeah, I mean, how to be an honest person and an authentic person.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, I think I got it now. Thank you very much. Is it Daniel? So I think you're right. In society at large, it's not enough just to hope people will develop a good character and become more honest. You need to have some power in place and enforcement in place to at least prevent dishonesty. And we do, of course, we do have lots of power structures in place to prevent dishonesty. We have, we have on the courtroom, if you lie under oath, you can go to jail. In the workplace, if you steal from the employer, you can be arrested. Right? So we have already enforcement mechanisms. Maybe they're not so much to promote honesty, but they are to avoid dishonesty. The problem with that is that can't be the whole story, though, because if you are doing the right thing just so that you don't get punished or don't get in trouble, then that isn't the right kind of motivation. So you get the behavior is okay, but the motivation isn't. The motivation will still be self-interested. And maybe that's also the last point that he was raising about the self and being authentic. You're externally, outwardly acting well, but your heart isn't in it because all you care about is yourself and not getting punished. That's egoistic, that's self-interested, that's not virtuous. It might be a good stepping stone, a good step to becoming honest, but it can't be enough, is what I say.
I think I don't need to translate it. Neil, you got the point from Christians. Ya, jadi kekuatan nggak cukup gitu, tapi ada itu hanya salah satu cara aja sih. Ya, tapi soal autentisitas mungkin nggak diperoleh gitu ya kalau misalnya sekedar mengandalkan kuasa. Let me take one other questions. Okay. From Dwita. If someone is denying the facts inside their mind, not because they mean to lie to themselves or act according to wrong motive consciously, but because of the works of self-defense mechanism, or maybe because they never learned common virtues, how to categorize this type? Or can I assume that this statement about honesty is only applicable to those who think and act consciously?
Yeah. So if someone is denying, I'm looking at myself too. If someone is denying the facts inside their mind, not because they mean to lie to themselves or act according to wrong motive consciously, but because of the work of self-defense mechanisms, or maybe because they never learned common virtues. That's really challenging. That's a tough question. So I would want to say that that's an example of self-deception. Self-deception is when you're coming to believe something, even though you don't have evidence for it, and all the evidence goes in the other direction. You're coming to believe something because you want to believe it. And that does not have to be conscious. In fact, I think a lot of the time we deceive ourselves unconsciously or below conscious awareness. How do you categorize that? I think that person is still not honest. That person is, remember how I defined it, on purpose distorting the facts. They are misrepresenting the facts to themselves. Objectively, that's going on, even if they're not aware of it. That's what they're doing to themselves, right? In the book, I talk about an example like this. I say, here's a concrete example. A parent who thinks that his son is not using drugs. But then lots of evidence starts to come along that his son is using drugs. There's some text messages. There's some strange behavior. There's this money that's missing. All this evidence. And so what the parent should believe is that his son is using drugs, but instead he doesn't want to believe that. So subconsciously or unconsciously, he ignores the evidence and still believes his son is not using drugs. How do I categorize that person? I categorize that person as dishonest in that respect. So self-deception is dishonest, even if it's not conscious. That's my position. That's a hard, tricky issue, though. I accept that completely. Hope that made sense.
Yeah, sure. Oke, jadi itu tadi pertanyaan dari Dito agak sulit gitu ya. Maksudnya itu isu yang cukup pertanyaan yang sulit juga ya. Maksudnya kayak seandainya seorang ibu gitu ya, dia nggak percaya kalau anaknya itu pakai obat-obatan narkoba. Tapi bukti menunjukkan bahwa ternyata enggak nih, nunjukin bahwa ternyata memang anaknya pakai narkoba. Nah itu kan mungkin suatu kenyataan yang untuk diterima sama ibunya dan mungkin jadi sedikit self-deceptive gitu ya, menipu dirinya sendiri. Itu kan isu yang lebih problematis ya. Tapi anyway, tetap kalau secara definitif nggak kehitung ya, karena honesty itu soal bagaimana kita berusaha untuk tidak distort the facts gitu ya, nggak mendistorsi dan nggak melakukan misrepresentasi fakta atau hal yang benar-benar terjadi. Nah, jadi itu poin yang mungkin sulit ya, tapi itu anyway jawaban. Christians, two short questions. One, what do you think about white lies? Are there any things that you could consider something that you lied, but yeah, but it's something that you must do, quote unquote. And second, I got interested for some times ago reading Brandon Warmke grandstanding. Do you think grandstanding is some kind of dishonesty also? Yeah. Two last question.
Okay. you gave me some hard ones at the end. These are short questions, but need long answers. Okay, let's take white lies. White lies are really interesting. So white lies are usually understood as lies that are on minor things, on small things. They're things like, how does the dress look today? Or how is the dessert? How is my dessert? Or how does my shirt look today? And the other person tells a lie, says, looks great or tasted good, just because they didn't want to hurt the person's feelings. What do we say about that? I say that that's dishonest. That's intentionally distorting the facts as the person sees them. The person thinks the shirt is ugly and yet is saying it looks pretty. So they are intentionally distorting the facts, dishonest. Now, that might seem harsh. That might seem cold. But it doesn't mean it's the same thing as wrong. So dishonest doesn't automatically mean wrong, because you also have to take into account other virtues like compassion. So it may be that it's dishonest but compassionate, because you might say, look, I don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. That the loving thing to do is just to lie to them. And so all things considered, when you take into account compassion and honesty, it's a down for honesty, it's an up for compassion, and all things considered, it might be okay. We know this works in other contexts. This is not a white lie context, but in other contexts, like lying to the Nazis to protect a Jewish family. A famous example from World War II, Immanuel Kant had a famous example like this with the axe murderer. Most people agree that it's okay to lie to the Nazi, even though that's dishonest. That's thumbs down for honesty. It's thumbs up because of compassion, because you're saving the life of the Jewish family. Okay, so it's not wrong. Do you want me to translate that, or you want me to talk about grandstanding as well?
Please just continue it, Christian.
Okay. So grandstanding, that's a great question too. So I think there is some dishonesty there as well. So if we're understanding grandstanding as presenting yourself as really caring about morality when you don't, you just care about your own status and looking good and making an impression. But you want others to think that you really do care about morality, then there's a distortion of the facts there too, right? You're wanting other people to form an impression of you that is not accurate to how you really are. It's like a kind of hypocrisy. So whenever you get this intentional distorting of the facts, you're going to get a failure of honesty. So yes, it's very much connected to grandstanding as well. So excellent question.
Okay. Please let me translate it. Nah, ini 2 pertanyaan terakhir ya. White lies, gimana? White lies. Kayak misalnya, aku pakai baju nih. Samuel, gimana bajuku? Jelek, ternyata gitu. Tapi kita dalam hati jelek gitu. Tapi ngomongnya, oh itu bagus. Gitu. Karena kita tidak mau melukai perasaannya. Nah, untuk soal kejujuran itu juga harus dipahami dalam konteks yang lebih besar ya. Mungkin iya, kita jadi tidak jujur. Jadi white lies itu tetap kita tidak jujur. Tapi mungkin kita jadi punya virtue of compassion gitu ya. Kita punya belas kasihan. Aku nggak mau melukai hati Samuel gitu. Samuel misalnya sensitif gitu ya. Atau misalnya Nazi gitu ya. Kita bohong sama Nazi untuk melindungi orang dari melindungi orang dari pembunuhan Nazi gitu ya. Karena mungkin kayak Immanuel kan aneh-aneh aja gitu kan. kita disuruh jangan bohong gitu ya. Kalau misalnya Nazi nyariin seseorang Yahudi di rumah kita, jangan bohong gitu. Itu kan jujur sih, tapi nggak ada belas kasihannya gitu. Nah itu jadi yang namanya white lies tetap hitungannya dishonest, tapi mungkin gitu ya ada virtue lainnya yang sifatnya bisa benar. Nah pertanyaan kedua itu tadi aku nanya soal grandstanding. Ini menarik juga nih ngomongin grandstanding ya. Grandstanding itu suatu sikap untuk kayak dia menunjukkan bahwa dirinya itu memperdulikan suatu hal, mempedulikan moralitas gitu ya. Misalnya nih Pak Jokowi klaim bahwa dia peduli soal kamisan gitu ya. Dia peduli soal kejahatan HAM masa lalu gitu. Tapi pada faktanya nggak dilakukan. Nah itu grandstanding namanya gitu ya. Nah itu dishonesty nggak? Yes, gitu kan ya, dishonesty ya, ada kaitannya erat. Dan mungkin menarik juga nih kita nanti bahas ya Jokowi and grandstanding gitu. Itu menarik gitu. Anyway gitu ya. Nah ini jadi politis gitu ya. Tapi anyway kira-kira gitu. So Christians, thank you for an hour and it almost half an hour. Sorry for take a long time, but I have one last question. When will your book Honesty came out this year?
Yep. Thank you. It's coming out in July. So, and then I've got a book on moral psychology that's going to come out in May. That'll be coming out in May, and then the honesty book will be coming out in July. So lots happening over here.
yeah, it's really great to hear that. Yeah. We're happy for you. Do you want to add something? No. Okay. I think that's it. Could you conclude with a statement or two statements regarding today's talk, Christian?
Yeah. Well, just thank you so much for having me. I loved coming on the first time, and I was hoping that I would be a chance to come back again. And so it's great to see all of you again. And I hope we can do this again in the future. So please, keep me in mind. Otherwise, everyone's free to email me if you like. If you have any questions, you can find me through Google or connect over social media, either Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Happy to connect that way too. And I just hope everyone found this beneficial and helpful. And thank you, Samuel, and everyone with your group who puts in so much time for doing this. It's a really tremendous opportunity to talk about philosophy. So thank you.
Yeah, you could follow Christians on Twitter. Yeah, he often shared some interesting writings he has. So yeah, please consider to follow Christians on Twitter and other social media. Yeah. Thank you, Christians. Hopefully we could find you and meet you in other opportunities. So yeah, it's already 10:15 in Indonesia, and there's still 30 people around here. So yeah, I think it's really an enthusiasm. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Miller.
I'm gonna head out. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Christians. See you.
Bye.
Ya, jadi selamat malam teman-teman semuanya. Thank you buat hari ini, gitu ya. Udah jam 10-an tapi masih berada di sini ya, Dek. Nih,
ada pengumuman setelahnya nggak ya?
Oh iya benar, ada pengumuman ya. Jadi pengumumannya itu minggu depan kita bahas soal Taoism ya. Taoism itu apa ya, Dek? Filsafat Timur ya.
Filsafat Timur ya, filsafat Cina.
China ya, so China gitu tentang Taoism. Kita mengundang dari Hong Kong, Eric Nelson. Gitu ya. Terus minggu depannya lagi kita juga punya dari orang Singapura tapi kuliah di Prancis. Jadi udah 2 kuliah master filsafat deh. Karena itu kurang kerjaan kali ya. Jadi 2 master filsafat, keren ya. Jadi dia ngomongin soal filsafat Buddhisme. Wah, itu seru juga tuh. Orang Singapura, dan sayang banget kalau dia jarang ngomong di Indonesia ya. Harusnya dapat tempat juga, dan aku rasa Schole boleh jadi tempat dia untuk ngomong pertama kali. Lalu minggu depannya lagi dia kayaknya ada ya. Ada siapa, Dek?
Minggu depannya lagi ada kita ngebahas eksistensialisme 101 bareng sama Romo Thomas Hidiacaya ya, rektor atau kepala Staf Bidakara. Dan di bulan April spesial banget ada Romo Franz Magnus Suseno akhirnya.
Ngomongin soal komunisme sebagai musuh Pancasila ya?
Enggak dong. Tunggu aja
ya.
tanggalnya ya. Yang jelas di bulan April sama Romo Franz Magnus Suseno.
Ya. Mau bahas soal komunisme nih kami. Pengen Pancasilais. Sekolahnya pengen Pancasilais. Enggak. Interesting ya. Bakal menarik ya. Jadi tenang aja. Kami nggak politis kok. Tadi aja politis. Oke, teman-teman. Kayaknya itu aja ya, Dek. Ada yang mau lo tambahin nggak?
Udah itu aja.
Oke, teman-teman. See you. Thank you banget buat antusiasme kalian. Kita ketemu lagi di minggu-minggu depannya. Feel free untuk kontak kami dimanapun kalian mau kontak gitu ya. Di Schole, di personal gitu. Oke? Sip, selamat malam, selamat beristirahat, tetap jaga kesehatan semuanya. Oke, thank you semua. Bye-bye.